In this video, we are going to be talking about the order of operations. In class, we already introduced this, but we haven't really practiced it much. So today we are going to work on practicing it, and we are going to be working on taking the order of operation and looking at a story problem, and you are going to have to be writing your own order of operation based on your story problems. So basically, let's look at what is the order of operation. If you remember, we talked about it is so that we are all solving our problem in the same way. So we have to have one way to solve it. So if we all had different equations, we need to be able to have the same answers. If we don't all solve it the same way, then we might end up with different answers. So if you remember, I gave you this lovely little way to remember is please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So remember, each one had a way or something that stands for it. So our P was for parentheses. Our E was for exponents. So let's say we had 2 to the third power. And then my was multiplication. Dear was division. A was addition. S was subtraction. And remember, these ones are the same order, right? So we do these ones at the same time, but we do these from left to right. Same with the addition and subtraction. So we solve it like you're reading from the left to the right. All right, so I'm just going to give us an example really quick to show why the order of operations is so very important. So I'm just going to write an equation over here. We're going to solve it in two different ways. So we're going to have 8 plus 2 times 6. So let's say if you just went through and solved it from left to right, like most people probably would when they first saw that, they would just do this, and they would get 10, and then they would do 10 times 6, and you would end up with 60. But let's say that somebody else saw this equation and thought that, well, I know 2 times 6, so I'm going to do that first. So let's say if I did 2 times 6 first, I'm going to get 12, and then I would do 8 plus 12, and then I would get 20. So if you see, we ended up with two different answers. We had 60 and we had 20. So it's just depending on which one the person felt more comfortable with doing when they first started. So in math, that's not good. We need to make sure that we have one way to solve everything so everybody has the same exact answer. All right, so here we are going to be practicing these, and we are going to have to follow this order. That's why it's called the order of operations. So if you remember, an operation are all these things that you can see on the left of your screen. So we are going to be practicing a few of these so we get comfortable solving them and that we can do them in order. So let's start with our equation. Let's see, we're going to do 7 times 5 plus 6 minus 2. And we're going to put the parentheses right here. All right, so we are going to be looking at this problem, and we need to figure out what do we do first. So I need to come up here and look at what comes first. It's going to be parentheses. So everything in the parentheses I must do first. So I need to do this first. So what I always do is I always make this little symbol to go down to say this is what I'm solving. So 6 minus 2, I know is going to be 4, so I'm going to put 4 there. And then I need to look at the rest of this. It's kind of hard to follow along if I have to keep looking up, so I rewrite every single step. I have to simplify it as I go along to make sure I get every step correct. All right, so now I need to go down and make sure I do everything. Are there any more parentheses? Nope, we solved them all. Are there any exponents? Nope, there are no exponents in our problem today. And then our next are multiplication and division from left to right. So then I need to look, is there multiplication or division? Yes, there's multiplication right here. So we're going to actually do this step next. So I need to make my little symbol here. And I'm going to do 7 times 5, which is going to be 35. And I'm going to write that. And now I need to simplify the rest of this and bring it down. So I have one equation. So I have 35 plus 4. Well, there's only one thing left, which is addition. So I just need to solve that and bring that down. So 35 plus 4 should be 39. So my answer to my equation up here would be 39 if I followed the order of operation. Alright, so here's our next problem that we are going to solve. So we're going to go through and we're going to try to solve it using the order of operations again. So let's look. Are there any parentheses? No, there are no parentheses anywhere in here. So then we're going to look at exponents. Are there exponents? No, there are no exponents. Is there multiplication or division? Yes, there's actually both. So here is why it's important to know that I have to do left to right. So I have to solve this one first, and then this one. So I'm going to come down here and say 4 times 3, well, that's going to equal 12. And then I'm going to rewrite my equation. So I have 12 plus 4 divided by 4. So then I need to do my other part right here, which was division, which is 4 divided by 4. Well, I know 4 divided by 4 is going to be 1. And I'm going to rewrite my equation. I'm going to add this down there, which would be 12 plus 1. So I know that 12 plus 1 is going to equal 13. Alright, so let's try another one with the same equation, but we are going to actually put some parentheses in there to see if it's any different. So in here, let's add some parentheses around the 3 plus 4. So here's the 3 and 4. Alright, so let's go through and solve this one. So you have to do is first, which was parentheses. So that would be 3 plus 4, which I know is 7. I have to rewrite all of this so I know that I have it. 4 times 7 divided by 4. Alright, do I have any exponents? No, so I'm going to go on. I need to do multiplication or division. So remember, I need to do it left to right. So I'm going to come over here and do these ones first. So I need to do 4 times 7. Okay, and we know that 4 times 7 is going to be 28. So then I'm going to do 28 divided by 4. And it should be easy to figure this one out because we just did 4 times 7 equal 28, so we divided by 4. It's going to be 7. So my answer this time with the same numbers is going to be 7. If you remember, last time was 13 and now it's 7. Alright, so we're going to use the same one, but put our parentheses in a different spot. Alright. We are going to put our parentheses around all of these ones right here. Alright, so now let's go ahead and solve this one. So we have to go inside the parentheses, but now we have multiple things in our parentheses. So now we need to look at using the order of operation inside of our parentheses. So we're going to do this first, which is multiplication. So 4 times 3 is going to be 12. I need to rewrite the rest of this equation, making sure that I bring down the parentheses as well when I do that. Otherwise, I'd go through and solve this first, which I don't. I need to have my parentheses back around here because they're still there. We didn't solve everything in those parentheses yet. So then we need to solve 12 plus 4. Well, 12 plus 4 is going to be 16. And then we need to rewrite this and simplify it and say 16 divided by 4. Okay, so what is 16 divided by 4? Well, I know that's going to be 4. So if you notice, we had the same equation, we just moved around the parentheses a little bit, and each time our answer was a little bit different. Okay, so here's how we are going to apply all of our knowledge about order of operation into a story problem. So we are going to read this story problem and we are going to figure out how we can solve it using the order of operation. So it says, Mr. Stills makes bags of school supplies for the 9 students in his class. He has 108 pencils and 72 erasers. He puts the same number of pencils and the same number of erasers into each bag. How many more pencils than erasers are in each bag of school supplies? So first I need to solve the problem. So as we do in class, we need to find our important information. So we kind of have broken down into two different methods. If you look down, we have Nicole's method and we have David's method. So we're going to walk through both of them to see what they did in order to help us figure out which way is the best way to be solving this. Alright, so first for Nicole's method, she needed to write an equation for each step. So first she said she needed to divide the number of pencils that Mr. Stills puts into each bag of school supplies. Well, she knew she had to do division because she looked up here and said, well, I have the word each. So I know that each student is going to have a bag. So I'm looking at each student has a bag, so there's 9 students. Well, I need to figure out for pencils, how many pencils are going to go into each bag. So she took out her total number of pencils. So she did 108 divided by 9. So go ahead and we're going to do that math really quick. We're going to say 108 divided by 9. You should be solving this as well. So I should say 9 can go into 10 one time. 9 times 1 is going to be 9. I'm going to subtract. I will get 10 minus 9, which is 1. I need to repeat because I'm bringing down. So remember, after I subtract, I'm going to bring down. And every time I bring down, I always repeat. So I'm saying how many times can 9 go into 18? And I'm going to say that's going to be 2 times. And 9 times 2, that's going to be 18. So this is going to subtract. And we're getting over 0. So I have no remainder. So my answer right here should be 12. Alright, so then he needed to do the next step. So, which was to divide the number of erasers that Mr. Still puts into each bag of school supplies. So Nicole looked up here and said, well, there's still 9 bags, but he also put an eraser into each bag. So how many erasers is he putting into each bag? She's going to have to do division. So she has to remember this number here, which was 12. So I'm just going to write it over there so I can see it. Erase this. And I want you to solve that division problem. 72 divided by 9. You shouldn't have to do long division for this one, because this one is not long division, so I should just know that what times 9 is going to equal 72? Well, I should know that that would be 8. So I'm going to just, oops, I saw the eraser. Sorry, I'm going to rewrite that. I had 12, and then I had 8. So then it says subtract the number of erasers in each bag from the number of pencils in each bag. So why did we need to do that? Because we had a second question up here. So I said how many more pencils than erasers are in each bag of the school supplies. So I had to figure out how many pencils were in each bag, how many erasers were in each bag, and now I have to figure out how many more. And remember, how many more means I need to subtract. So I'm going to be taking 12 minus 8. And what is that going to equal? That should equal 4. So my answer to this problem is going to be 4. So what does that answer actually mean? She put it into a sentence. There are 4 more pencils than erasers in each bag of supplies. Alright, so what did Nicole do? She took each step and broke it down. So she has separate answers for each one. Alright, so let's look at what David has done now. So David has the same problems that Nicole had, except for he's putting them all in one line, trying to use the order of operations. So he's looking up here and saying, let P equal how many more pencils and erasers are in each bag of school supplies. So you see right here, he has equals P. So we already did all this math, so I don't need to redo it all. So as I'm looking here, I'm going to put 108 here because it says the number of pencils in each school bag. So we know that we had 108 when we began, and we'd be dividing it by 9. So if you can see, I already wrote it over here. So 108 divided by 9, and we have that equaling 12. And then we had 72 divided by 9 is going to be equaling 8. Alright, so then as he solves that, he's going to have the same answer as Nicole did. This should be subtraction. Alright, and then we're going to come down here and solve this, and we'd have 4. But if you can see, this one right here, which is different than Nicole's, was a lot more concise, and it was easier for us to follow along. So you see, it's one line, whereas hers was in lots. This one's easier to get lost and forget what you're doing. This way you keep it all in one. So when you come in tomorrow, this is what we are going to be practicing. You're going to be having story problems that you're going to be going over, and we are going to be practicing looking at what is the problem asking us, and then you are going to be making own operations. I can't wait to see you guys making own order of operations tomorrow. Have a good night.